Hello and welcome to my fourth day of my Hadrian's Wall vlog. I'm standing where I finished last time, just a few yards away from the Twice Brewed pub outside the Sill, and it's gorgeous and sunny and clear, which I'm very grateful about, because when I left the house today it was snowing and it's been misty all the way up until about 15 minutes ago. So I've got to get this in sometime. It really was a case of fog on the Tyne, but now we've risen above it and I've risen above the awful joke I've been dying to get in all these times. The wonderful Hadrian's Wall bus has dropped me off at the Sill, but I'm not going to go there today, or the museum at Vindolanda, which is said to be wonderful. Instead, I've planned to spend a day after I finish at Bowness in Solway and travel back slowly along the wall using the Hadrian's Wall bus and spend the time calling in those places properly then and having a good look round without having to rush. I've got a relatively short day today. I think it's about 10 miles. It's because although public transport is great, I now am a fair few miles from my home on the northeast coast. And so it's taking quite a while to get here. So I'm going to walk from here over Windshield Crags and Green Slack, which is the highest point on Hadrian's Wall. So really pleased about the views and the clarity. And I'm going to finish my day in Gilsland and stay overnight and then walk again tomorrow, hopefully reaching Carlisle round about tea time. So here's hoping for a great day's walking again. There's nothing like a steep hill first thing in the morning to warm up the muscles and get the lungs working and set you off for the day ahead. But as I now stop and take off a layer and get me breathing back in order, it also gives me a chance to look back at where I walked last time. Back over Steel Rig and Cragloch and all those high areas I walked last time. And it looks beautiful again today. And I've got more to come, except today I've got even higher bits, but I've got some low bits as well. Really looking forward to today. And I've arrived. I'm at Green Slack on Windshields, the highest point on the Hadrian's Wall path, and about halfway along too. So a really significant point for me and for everyone who walks this trail. I hope I'll be forgiven for my jokes about fog on the Tyne, but it was really a bit concerning this morning when I was travelling up here and the fog was very thick, because as every walker knows, you can come walking in wild areas at any time of year. You can come walking in high areas, in high up areas, and even though it's really clear down the bottom of the valley, you get to the top and you're in cloud. But today the opposite's happened and the views are really clear indeed. I can see snow over there on the Cheviot Hills. I can see snow behind me as well. There's been snow this week, despite the high temperatures of the week before. But I don't care about the temperatures. When you can see distances like this and you can see beauty like this, you don't care about a bit of cold. You just put on an extra layer or walk a bit faster, whichever works best for you. But although I've just reached the highest point on the Hadrian's Wall trail, if I follow the path over to the west, which I have ahead of me, I can see that the trail gradually descends into the far more open, rolling landscape of Cumbria. That's the other thing that comes with being halfway through the trail, halfway across the British landscape. Up and down, up and down. I will lead them up and down, and in this case it's down, 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 down. It seems as though the Romans got the idea a long time before Shakespeare. I'm really glad it's a dry day today, because these paths are not fun in wet weather. And when I get to the bottom, I've got to go all the way back up again. Well, it seems I spoke a bit too soon about moving towards Cumbria's more open landscape. The limestone of Northumbria is not giving up without a fight, and there's been lots of up and down and up and down, and some of those bits have been quite tricky. I'm glad it's not wet. I'm glad I'm not carrying a large rucksack with tents and things in them, because it is easy to take a slip on those sorts of paths. But I've really enjoyed it. It's the sort of walking I love, and the big wide landscape and the views beyond and around. And the weather's great. The weather's great, the views are great, the visibility is great. It's a bit chilly, but I don't mind that. If anything, it's good when you've got to go up and down, up and down, up and down. It keeps you cool. So, hello, you've come over from America. Oh, sorry, where did you say you came from?
Yes, the US,
Oh,
Maryland.
Maryland, right. And you've come over just to walk Hadrian's Wall?
A little bit. So we lived in England before, so
Yeah.
we did a nostalgia tour down in Oxford and Cambridge.
Yeah.
And then we're walking Hadrian's Wall for a couple of days. We'll see some friends in
Something
London.
That's
And
nice. So you're going to Twice Brewed tonight?
We are, yeah.
Yeah.
Well done.
You,
Yeah.
Where
well,
you came from?
I've been told. Well, I was there sort of a little while ago. They do a really good ale there called Sycamore Gap, which is yeah, you know about Sycamore Gap.
Yes.
Yes, we do. We're coming up on it here shortly.
Yes, yeah, that's true. Yes, you'll enjoy it.
Tomorrow, right?
So what's been the highlights for you?
The weather.
The weather.
We got so lucky with the weather.
But it's fun. So like, my family comes from Scotland a couple hundred years ago.
Yeah.
So they built the wall to keep us out, but we snuck back in
Yeah,
eventually.
you sneak back in. Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's been fun to kind of see the nature, see the landscapes where my ancestors were. I have
Yeah.
big history nuts, so being able to touch stones that maybe an ancient Roman touched is just a fun
Yes.
trip.
And we prefer more things out in the country as opposed to big cities, so this is just perfect.
Yeah.
Let's see more of Northumbria.
It's lambing season 2.
Yes.
So
Oh.
baby lambs as well.
Oh, baby lambs, yeah. I suppose, do you get many lambs where you are? No. Oh.
We're in the suburbs, so right outside a city, and so lots of big houses and neighbors, but no lambs. So that's a nice change.
Oh, it's worth coming over for the lambs. It's worth
Exactly.
coming over. So thank you for talking to me. Enjoy the rest of your trip.
Oh,
And
thank you for chatting.
bye-bye to that. So like, I'm looking back over Caulfield's crags and feeling quite pleased I've made the progress I've made, because the weather's changed. It's not only raining, there are bits of white in it. So I got my waterproofs on, I got my gloves on, and I'm hoping it doesn't get too much worse, but if it does, I'll just put on another layer, put on my waterproof trousers and carry on walking. So, despite the rain, I've met Warden for the National Park. Is that
Spencer.
Ian's
volunteer, yeah.
Oh, so you do this on a voluntary
Do
basis?
this on a voluntary basis, yeah, as often as I can.
So what do you do altogether? What do you...
Several things. I'm involved with a guided walks program. Do several patrols along Hadrian's Wall, covering different areas. Just doing a litter pick and check that there's no damage, and get involved in any practical work that I might find. So if there's any broken stiles or field gates, I would work with one of the rangers to help repair that.
That's
So
really
since
great.
I've retired, I thoroughly enjoy it.
it's the sort of whatever it is for being a healthy older age, isn't it? If you're doing
Well, it is, yeah. Yeah, I absolutely love it. I mean, I used to do it on a weekends and during the school holidays when I was working, but now that I'm retired, it's absolutely brilliant, and I get out a lot, and I just love the countryside, and I just love this area.
Well,
And I love sort of volunteering for the Northumberland National Park.
well, I've got to say, as a walker, I'm very grateful for the work that you do. The, things like the stiles and the signage and things, they've all been excellent. They have.
Yeah.
They're really, really good, and they're such a help and things. So if you had a message to walkers, what would it be?
Just go out and enjoy, get the fresh air, see the scenery, take your time when you're walking the trail, and just have a look around and just take in the points of interest, because everywhere up here is so beautiful.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, and that message will go out, and I think it's a message we should all listen to. Thank you so much. Thank
Pleasure.
you. Bye bye.
Pleasure. Thank you.
I've arrived at the Roman fort of Great Chesters, or Aisca, as the Romans would have called it. There's not a great deal to see here today, although it provides a nice home for the lambs. And in its time it was a major fortification. What it really shows is the amazing international, multicultural character of Hadrian's Wall, because at one point this fort was where the Dalmatii garrison was based from the Dalmatians in Croatia, and at another time the Hamii, I think that's how it's pronounced, were based here. They were very skilled archers from Syria in the Middle East. So men from Croatia, men from Syria, coming all the way up to this remote area, the most northerly part of the Roman Empire. I'm here with gloves and a woolly hat on, looking out over where I've walked today, and I'm feeling the cold. It must have been so alien for them, and they must have felt so out of place here, yet they made it their home. I'm not sure how much actual wall I'm going to see for the rest of today, but this landscape makes wonderful walking with the escarpment slopes and the trail going up and down and being able to see for miles. And the snow's kept off, the rain's kept off, so all is well in the world. Well, not as much wall on this section, but there is still wall, and there are still mile castles. I'm now on Walltown Crags, looking out for miles and miles and miles to the north, up towards the Cheviot Hills and the Scottish borders. And that section of wall I saw back before Collarford seems like a world away now. And yet I am still only just over halfway across. Walking the wall really does give you an appreciation of the enormity of the structure and the enormity of the work involved in creating it, and then making sure that it remained a fortification for a good number of years. You don't really get to appreciate it just by going past on the road in a car. You need to get out and walk it if it's at all possible. I found another group of Americans. So how many of you are there?
Oh,
There's
we don't affiliate with those other ones.
not even your fiance.
Oh, no, yeah, I affiliate with her for sure. I thought you meant a different group.
Oh, no. I'm just wondering, after COVID, is it sort of, was it on your list of things to do once the world opened up again?
No, this guy had planned it. He'd wanted to do it for the better part of 4 years, I want to say. And so we offered to come along with him.
Yeah.
And so here we are.
Yes. And what do you think of it so far?
It's cold. I think we're a little early in the year.
It's
been
definitely
nice. It's beautiful.
it's definitely colder than California.
It's a lot
Yes.
colder in California,
But you know, I
still
walked
nice.
I walked it with my son some years ago in August, and it was
Okay.
colder than it is now.
Is that right? In
So
August?
yeah, you can never tell with the weather.
Weather out here? Okay.
Yes.
Well,
So you're staying in Twice Brewed tonight.
I reckon we'll stay there tonight. We stayed in Banks last night. Where was that before? The other night? Carlisle.
Carlisle,
And then at the King's Arm the first night.
the first night. Ah, right. So you're seeing it. So you've got lots of exciting hills ahead
hope
of you.
so.
Yeah. Oh, you hope so.
I've done a lot of backpacking, so the flat is a little boring.
Yeah.
Like the steep up, steep down, everything in between.
Yeah. And in some ways, I find it easier because it shifts the weight around, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. But you've got a lot ahead of you to enjoy. So
Yeah.
I'll wish you luck on your way. And when you get to the Twice Brews, they do a really good ale. Yeah, have some of their ale. Have some of their ale and some great food as well.
Wonderful. All right, have a lovely day.
And you. Bye bye. I've just spent a great hour visiting the Roman Army Museum. It's a wonderful place. I really do recommend people calling in there if you've got the time. I'm probably spending more than an hour. Unfortunately, I'm limited to that today, but I can see me going back there again. It's got wonderful displays and great audiovisual stuff, lots of short films and one long 3D film that in some ways I wish I'd seen before I started walking the wall, because it really puts things into perspective, and I think my understanding of what I've been seeing is so much greater as a result of watching that film. But I've now got my hat on because it's cold, and I'm going to have to put on a bit of a speed up, I think, to warm up, because we're now sort of past 4 o'clock. The sun's going down and it's going to be chilly, but still enjoyable. I'm standing in the shadow of Thirlwall Castle on the banks of Tippelt Burn. And what's interesting about this is that I've walked quite a long way now since I passed the midway point in Miles on the Hadrian's Wall path. But this burn doesn't run to the west on the Irish Sea. It runs down into the South Tyne, joining the North Tyne at Hexham, and then all the way down to Wallsend and out into the North Sea. So although in Miles I might be in the western part of the British Isles. As far as the geology is concerned, I'm still in the east. It started snowing, hailing, something with white stuff falling from the sky. But I think it's still worth stopping and having one last look back at Walltown Crags. It's been fantastic walking along that ridge today. I've enjoyed it far more than I ever anticipated, and I thought I'd enjoy it, but it's been glorious. It's been really lovely. And it's left me with just that feeling of I want to come back and do it again before too long. I've reached Gilsland, where I'm spending the night, and I've also reached the border with Cumbria. The border's marked by the River Irthing, which is only a tiny little stream here, and we're only a short distance from Thurlow Castle and the beck that was running into the River Tyne. But this, the River Irthing, runs towards the west. It runs out towards the Irish Sea, and it's the real marker that we have crossed the watershed. We're now in the western half of the British Isles.